What's up, family? It's your man, Mark Black. I wanted to just come on today briefly and talk to you, family, because there's something I've been noticing a lot lately, and I like to address different things that I see happening amongst us, just to give you guys an idea of the pulse of our people, so to speak, right? The thing that I wanted to address with you, or I wanted to talk about, was what I'm starting to call or believe is the Black frustration industry. Yes, it's an industry. It's a business, right? Built off of Black frustration. Let me give you a setup. You'll tune in to a specific YouTuber, okay? Someone you enjoy. And usually when you tune into them, their videos, no matter how lengthy they are, involve a combination of these two things. One, they will be ranting about some incident that occurred to one of us at the hands of a pale person. Okay? And when I say ranting, I do mean just that. They may cloak it in scientific sounding nomenclature. They may talk about genetic deficiencies. They may talk about the psychology of these devilish caucasoids and so on and so forth. But essentially, that's what it is. It's a very erudite and well-spoken rant. Number two, they will then begin to criticize one or more groups of us, of Black folk. Number one, ranting about some incident that occurred at the hands of a pale person, right? And or criticizing one or more groups of us as we are to blame for what caused the initial incident with the pale person to begin with. Now, I want to tell you, family, that there's nothing new about the Black frustration industry. The only difference between, say, back in the day and now is that, well, any idiot with a camera and a microphone can get on various social media and do this thing that they do, right? When you hear them discussing the pale people, you will hear them using every single pejorative for the pale people in the book. And again, I got no personal problem with that. Hell, I've been known to indulge in a few, choice phrases when it comes to the pale people. Hell, I'll probably do it once or twice before this video's over. But they will continually talk about their genetic deficiency, the, weak-minded, devilish, cave-dwelling descendants of Neanderthal, Caucasoid cave beasts from the caves of West Asia, and so on and so forth. I mean, their rant, no matter how well-spoken, no matter how erudite they sound, will have this liberally sprinkled through. And then they will shift to what one or more groups, individuals of us did to aid and abet the behavior of these pale, devilish, caucasoid bastards. Okay? And that's it. Yes, that's it. I mean, you would think that they would have, with such insight to the psychology, the drives that motivate the pale people to practice whiteism upon all of the globe, you would think that with these types of high-level insights into the minds of our common oppressors, that solutions to our respective issues with them would abound, would overflow. But that's not what you get. What you get, and what I get, is criticism. You idiot coons, blah, 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 should stop fucking these, insert pale person's gender here, right? Okay, we know that. Like, Where are the actual solutions, the actual practical, factual solutions that we can institute today to defeat whiteism and its acolytes? Where are they? Well, members of the Black frustration industry won't give you those. Why? Because that puts them out of business. You see, they have Patreons and GoFundMes and so on and so forth, right? And they want you to be entertained enough to support them banging on the beast. As if they actually ever get around to banging on the beast. I'm going to give you a few tips to know whether or not the person or persons that you view their content, the people whose content you watch, you put your eyeballs and give your minds and sometimes your hearts to, whether or not they're members of the Black frustration industry. The first clue, the first tip to pay attention to is not even mine. I can't take credit for it. I have to give credit where it's due to Willie D. He was the first person I heard to say it. He said, and I quote, "If your criticism of the Black community, or Black collective as I like to say, outweighs your contribution to the Black collective, you are a coon." So if you hear these people consistently talking about swirlers, homosexuals, Republicans, niggas, thugs, thoughts, hoes, tramps, bedbugs, bedwenching, they're members of the Black frustration industry. And in my humble opinion, they are coons. Sure, they're not out there dancing a jig for massa, right? They're not buck dancing out there openly, at least anyway. But for all of the trial and tribulation and the issues that we go through as a Black collective, the last goddamned thing I would think that any of us would want to hear is another one who looks like us telling us how stupid, idiotic, how crazy, coonish, self-hating, self-denigrating. Really? When does that ever come to an end? When will you ever see these individuals actually uplift? No. That might be actually too much to expect. So let me give you something easier for them to reach for. When will you watch a video of theirs where they actually give you a real solution that doesn't involve something either so basic that it should go without saying, like not having sex with pale people at this point should be Black Consciousness 101, right? If you're thinking about being in an interracial relationship, don't. And I'm saying that as someone who is in one. If I was where I am now, then I would not be in one. Do not enter into an interracial relationship. But that's not a solution to our collective problem of dealing with whiteism. That just means don't have fucking sex with pale people. Don't have gay sex. Fine. Look, we can talk about this bullshit all day long. When are we going to get to some actual solutions? For example, how about purchasing, acquiring, stealing, by any means necessary, a land base? That's a solution. Now, we could talk about whether or not my methods or means or tactics utilized to get a land base can work or not work. That's a discussion we can have. But that's also a solution to our collective problem. Or how about learning how to use and acquire firearms for self and collective defense? That's a solution. How about if Black people sit on a jury and there's a case against another Black person that we nullify, that we simply refuse to vote guilty, no matter if they as guilty as sin, they didn't do it. Again, we can have debates about the validity of that particular strategy or tactic, right? But that's actually a practical, factual solution that we could use right now, today, to help fight and defeat our oppressors, our historic oppressors. And it ain't got nothing to do with who's fucking who, who's dating who, who's married to who. I'm over it. Look, if they're always criticizing one or more groups of us and claiming that we are aiding and abetting and are to blame, essentially, for what's happening to us under whiteism, they're members of the black frustration industry, and they're coons. Number two, if all they have is rants, that's entertaining. Don't get me wrong. I like entertainment. I play games. Mark Black is not serious 100% of the time. But we as a people, one of the things that we have really got to get past is that revolution is not going to be entertaining. The changes that are needed, not just amongst ourselves as our culture, but as a whole, in combating our historical oppressors, that shit won't be fun. So stop expecting everything to be entertaining to you. So until next time, family, love, peace, prosperity, and power, real power to our people.